Hello, I'm Kevin Casey. I work at Central Park Conservancy. I worked here for 7.5 years, and I just love it. I love everything about it. I loved it since day one. I was introduced to Best Buddies by Access VR. I was at another program and going on various interviews at different museums and stuff. And then I got a call from Eileen, and it was a very friendly and nice call and saying that I have a position is opening at Central Park Conservancy in the Visitor Center. I knew I was gonna like it from then. Then we set up an interview. I came here for an interview. They asked me questions, and I told them I knew a lot about the parks, New York's history, and Olmsted and Vaux and all that. And I felt on that day that they were very impressed with me. Then I got home, and then I got a call 2 days later that I was hired, and I was so happy. And then I did a little homework on my own, because I know a lot about Central Park and love it, but just to brush up on knowledge, I went for a walk one day from like the northern part, 106th Street, down to the dairy, and it was just nice, yeah. What I would do is, if I was suggesting to somebody going on an interview, update your resume, make sure you're dressed properly, study a little bit about, even if it's a position you like, whether it's in a company, a museum, a park, or whatever, brush up on what you know about it, and if there isn't something you know, learn more about it, and maybe visit the job site, whatever it be, so you can study up on it, so you'll be prepared for whatever questions they ask you on the interview. Body language is important. The way you sit, the way you use your posture, make sure you're not sweating or shaking or whatever, that you're not too nervous or whatever, because you want to set a good impression on the employers or the interviewers. After the interview, what you should do is study up more on the position you're applying for or the place you went to. Like when I after the interview, I was planning on doing this anyway, even before I got the notice that I was hired, to do a little homework, research the park, tour the park, and brush up on any things or facts that I do not know about the park. My favorite part of the day is explaining the history of the park. And then also in the morning when I come in, I do something called pitch in and pick up. I clean, litter, and things that are around the immediate area of the park, whether it be at the dairy or the castle. I go out with a grabber and a garbage bag, and I just clean it up. And sometimes I'm surprised with the things people leave behind. No, actually in the beginning, I started at Belvedere Castle. I worked there, and everything went well. But some days, even then, they needed me at the dairy, so they showed me what that was like, and I was familiar with that, so I liked that. And then I was told when Belvedere Castle had to close because of the renovation, I would be at the dairy for a while, and I wasn't nervous about that. I liked that. And then when the time came for Belvedere Castle to reopen, I was back up there again, working both there and the dairy. And then the reverse of happened. The dairy closed for a while, and I was at the castle for quite a while, and that worked out well. I went from the South Street Seaport Museum many years ago. I handed in a resume. This was back in '83, and the person who was hiring me was impressed, so I was hired there. And I liked that job. Yes, I was there for many, many years, but then they closed down because of financial trouble. And then I got hired here, and I like this job much better. When the employer is asking you questions, look at him or her directly, answer the questions, don't get daydreaming, or don't let anything or anyone distract you, be they thoughts or anything. Look confident, make sure you're dressed perfectly, you come on time, and you have a good resume.